everyone, welcome to my channel. My name's Angie, and on my channel I do all things homemaking. Today I'll be showing you how I take one bouquet and make 3 bouquets with it. I'll also be making some homemade sandwich buns and a festive fruit tart for the 4th of July. You'll also see an appearance from our puppy Bailey, a cute picnic display, and our sassy kitty Polly. Thank you for being here. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Let's go ahead and get started. So here I'm going to start by taking my bouquet that I bought at Sam's Club. And these are usually pretty big bouquets, so I'm going to do 2 small ones. I like putting one in my kitchen windowsill and one in my powder room. So the way I like doing this is I hold it up to the base and I decide how high I want the flowers to be, and then I just kind of hold them up to each other and trim off the same amount on the bottom of each one. And I try to mirror whatever I do in the front of the bouquet, I try to mirror and do in the back of the bouquet, and I kind of turn it as I go to make sure that I like what I'm seeing from each side. And I usually put the tallest flower in the middle. And I also pull off leaves that are going to be down towards the bottom, because you don't really want to have leaves in your water. That's what causes bacteria in the water. So now I'm just kind of filling in the empty spots here as I turn and look. So now I'm going to do these smaller ones, and I'm going to do the same thing here, where I'm going to start at a certain height and then I can adjust it later if I need to. So I'm going to kind of mirror and do what I did in one with the other side. Kind of take your cut pieces and use that as a measuring tool. So funny, because I got Invisalign a few hours prior to doing this video, the first time wearing them, and so I'm noticing how I'm making all these weird mouth gestures because I'm trying to get used to them being in my mouth, and then having this on the higher speed makes it look more funny. So I found these little festive balloons at Publix. I'm just gonna insert into the bouquets. Okay, now we're moving on to making the shortbread cookie crust for our fruit tart. So this is a recipe I found on Pinterest. It's called Keto shortbread cookies. And it calls for a couple cups of almond flour. Of course, I always sift my ingredients. This recipe is kind of a low-carb remake from a fruit pizza that my family really likes. I'm trying to do it low-carb. First time trying this. So now I'm adding a 1/3 cup of erythritol. And I'll have this recipe linked in the description. Make sure you always sift this stuff because it does get hard lumps. A pinch of salt. And if you've been watching my channel very long, you know I don't usually just go by the recipe completely. I add my own spin on things. So instead of a whole teaspoon of vanilla, I'm going to use half a teaspoon of almond extract and half a teaspoon of vanilla. And then we're gonna add 1 stick of unsalted butter. Actually, mine's salted because I like a little salt in my cookie. Brings out the flavor. And then we're gonna add 1 egg to this. Make sure that's mixed well. So I'm using a small tart pan for this. I'm just going to spray with some olive oil. And this is the type of tart pan where the bottom lifts up if you push on it. So I've already preheated my oven to 350. At first it looks like it may not cover the whole bottom, but it actually does. This is a very soft dough. You just kind of have to ease it to the corners. But it actually was just the right amount of dough for this pan. Kind of want to get it in all the spaces around the edges. And it did seem like a spatula was the easiest way to do that. So in the description below, I'll put the original fruit pizza that my family likes, and then I'll put the low-carb version of it. Okay, so this goes into the oven for, I think it was 15 minutes. You want it to be a nice golden brown. Now I'm getting my kitchen scale out because I'm going to measure my white chocolate chips, and I'm using Lillys. Which I had some white ones in here, but I could only find the unicorn ones, which is kind of a pink, blue, and white swirl. But the original recipe calls for white. So I'm going to put that in the microwave at 30-second intervals until it's completely melted. You want to melt it and stir after each time. This only took a total of 60 seconds to melt, so as you stir it, it continues to melt. So I'm going to go ahead and add this to my mixing bowl. And you're going to need a 8-ounce block of cream cheese softened, which mine was in the freezer, so I'm going to defrost it in the microwave. And then 1/4 cup of the heavy whipping cream. So I did make a mistake here, but it ended up working out. But just to let you know, if you put melted chocolate in the mixing bowl and you add cold whipping cream to it, it actually ends up making it thick and chunky, and it doesn't stay smooth. So because my cream cheese mixture was warm, it actually ended up working out, where it ended up making it smooth again. But I would suggest that the next time, don't add the whipping cream until the cream cheese has been mixed into the chocolate first. Okay, so this is what the cream mixture should look like. Kind of a cream cheese frosting texture. So I'm gonna add this to the bowl and set aside because you want your crust to cool completely before you start assembling it. Don't put it in the fridge though, because it'll get really hard if you put the cream in the fridge. So now I'm gonna start my sandwich buns, and I'm using low-carb Lillys hamburger bun recipe, which I've used before for my sliders, and I bought this bigger bun size pan to use for sandwiches. So here I'm sifting my almond flour. And it's going to take 4 eggs. Mix well after each egg. Now I'm gonna sift my baking powder. A dash of salt. And if you want to, you can add a tablespoon of sweetener. I'm gonna sift that in there and mix well. This recipe will also be in the description. Now I'm gonna get my bun pan ready. I'm just spraying it with some olive oil. And you want to scoop it. I think it was about halfway full, and I was able to get 5 buns with this recipe. Now I'm just using everything but the bagel seasoning on the tops, and then I'm sprinkling a couple with shredded cheese. These buns are going to go in a 350 oven for about 15 minutes, and while they're baking, I'm going to make my coleslaw. I'm not going to include this in this video because I've made that before on a meal prep video, and I'll have that in the description. So now I'm moving on to spreading my cream layer onto my cookie crust. And then you'll want to stick this in the fridge so it can chill, and as it chills, the filling hardens a little bit. I'm not going to use all the cream, I'll save that for a fruit dip. So, one way I like to take the leaves off my strawberries is I use a paring knife, and I just stick the berry tip about 1/4 inch into the berry where the stem is, and then I just turn the berry and it takes the stem off. That way you're just getting the stem and you're not getting a lot of the fruit cut off with it. So since this is a smaller tart pan, I'm using the smaller berries, and then I'm just going to save the big berries for the fruit dip. Bigger slices. I also have some frozen blueberries that I'm gonna use, and some raspberries. So since we're a few days prior to the 4th of July, I'm gonna go ahead and make a star on the tart. And it's easier if you kind of figure out where the points of your star are first and then kind of fill in the edges. Which I'm noticing that this isn't completely centered, but that's okay. Try to fill in some holes there. I'm just gonna fill the star in. Then I'll start making my edge. I decided to use the strawberries to make kind of a scalloped edge pattern around the tart. But this is just kind of fun because you can make your own little creative design. That's what it looked like. So I'm just gonna stick that in the fridge. So I got this pulled chicken at Sam's Club that I'm gonna make our sandwiches with. And I have a couple different selections of sugar-free barbecue sauce. This is the next day and I'm trying to get our picnic set up here. I found this cute tablecloth that's by Pioneer Women at Walmart. Bailey, you're all ready for the 4th of July? Got our fruit tart, coleslaw we made, our homemade buns. And it's just a bouquet that I split up into 3 bouquets. Some baked beans and our sugar-free hickory barbecue and our pulled chicken I got at Sam's Club. And then we have our sparkling water and our Zevia. Unfortunately, it looks like it's gonna rain today, even though it didn't say it was gonna rain. So hopefully that'll hold off. What? Polly, you wanna say hi? Say hi. That sounds like you're complaining. Are you complaining? Mm-hmm. Thank you, friends, for stopping by and joining our picnic. I hope you enjoyed my preparing for it, and I hope you have a fabulous 4th of July, and I'll see you next week with a new video. Bye!